Welcome to the second hour of Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room, this lovely Tuesday morning. It's the 5th day of October 2021. CT Muga has... This proverb is from where again? It's from Western Kenya. Which of the three communities that you mentioned?
Well, I'm not sure which of the three communities it is. I honestly am not certain.
Okay.
What I am certain of is that it is from that part of the world. Yes, but as to which particular community, if I told you I knew that community, I would be lying. And it wouldn't be a good thing for me to lie so early in the morning, would it?
No, wait at least until lunchtime.
Lunchtime is a good time, isn't
Yeah.
it? So then at least a lie or two can go down well, isn't it?
Yeah.
The proverb in English is, the dead have no clear drinking straw.
The dead have no clear drinking straw.
Yes, but now, in the language from the western part of the country, this is how it reads. Abafwa, babula, olutseshe, lulera.
Abafwa,
Abafwa,
babula,
babula,
olutseshe,
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 lulera.
lulera.
Yes. The dead
Abafwa.
have, yes, abafwa,
Babula. Abafwa.
olutseshe,
Olutseshe,
yes, lulera.
lulera.
Sounds like Zulu.
Bantu.
It's very Bantu. Our guests in the studio this morning is Emma Kithinji. Emma, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Can you say Abafwa? Babulera. Babula. Olutseshe. Lulera.
I can only get to Abafwa.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
The rest is just becomes too complicated. Especially that part of Olutseshe Lulera. Hey. Because that's where now the straw is.
Yes, and the bafwa bit I think is the dead.
Is the dead. So Babul now becomes the drinking.
I suspect this is us now trying to figure out a language that other people know and understand well. Let someone send us
Send us
a
the
tweet and tell us whether we've got it right or whether we are speaking some really
translation
foreign
word
language.
for word.
Yes.
Yes. Emma Kithinji is the head of tax training at the Kenya School of Revenue Administration. Sounds like a big thing, right?
No,
It's a big
it doesn't
thing.
sound like a
It's
big
a
thing.
big thing,
It is a
man.
big thing.
Kenya School of Revenue Administration, head of tax training.
Wait
What's
a
that,
moment.
Emma?
So thank you very much. Head of tax training, what does that mean? Kenya School of Revenue Administration is a school owned by the Kenya Revenue Authority where we train. Our core mandate is to train the KRA employees. But we opened our doors to the public. Now we train the public. We have collaborated with other institutions to offer tax knowledge. Yes.
So initially, you were only training people at KRA
Yes.
to understand tax.
Yes.
And then they come to us without any knowledge to ask for tax. And now you've decided that you want to teach us about the tax. So how do you conduct the tax training now with the citizens, the taxpayer?
What happens, we have programs that we run. We have from certificate all the way to master's level. And the certificate diploma are offered by Kenya School of Revenue Administration. We are an institution that is regulated by TVET. And for the postgraduate diploma, we have partnered with JQuat. For the masters, we have partnered with Moi University. But we have a new kid on the block called the advanced diploma. Advanced diploma is the new kid on the block because it is it's different in terms of delivery. Number one, it's taught by industry captains. Number two, it's modular. You do it for 21 module, 20 days, you're done until you finish the diploma. Yeah.
Why is it important for folks to have this training? And whether you're looking across corporate, leave Kenya Revenue Authority officials alone. Why is it then important? We're looking at corporate sector, private institutions. Why is it important to have this kind of training?
To raise the compliance levels in the country. When we were growing up, when you were in school, did you ever learn about taxation?
Well, yes, because of the kind of school I went to, that was different. But I mean,
You're not about taxation. All of them, like the taxes in the country.
no, not all.
There's
of them,
income tax.
But I mean, there was
There's
like the
the tax.
the basics in a particular class.
The basics. So it's important to raise the compliance levels. What happens nowadays when like a carry bus would go to, let's say, a village in Shamahoho, what happens? They close the shops and run away. But if some
Yeah.
of the people who are there know about these taxes, there's no point of running away, because the number one job as a Kenyan citizen is to know how your taxes operate
Yep.
and for you to pay your tax.
Okay, so so it's important to train these people. Anybody who comes in, it's important to train them so that they know essentially what they ought to pay.
Yes, what they ought to pay, why they ought to pay, and how they ought to pay. Yes.
Okay.
So when you do the tax training, do you start from the basics? Like somebody just ought to know what is payee and what is VAT, or are you looking at somebody who's been employed as an accountant in a certain office? Those are the ones that you want to train.
What happens, we have the corporate courses and the academia courses.
Right.
The academia courses, we follow a curriculum. Yeah, we follow a curriculum. But for the corporate courses, like you guys can come to us and tell us we need a training on media, taxation in the media industry, and we will tailor make that for you. Yeah.
You know, when you mentioned a bus arriving in a certain part of the country and people shutting down shops, why you saw me smiling and smirking is because if somebody came to me today and told me they work for KRA, I would not smile. My automatic reaction would be okay. So what is it that I have forgotten to do?
What have I eaten?
Yes, KRA, yes, what you're doing is laudable, it's commendable, but your image in the eyes of the ordinary Mwananchi is negative. You are the ghost with which we scare children at night.
The ghost in the darkness.
Yes. In my community, it's called Coco.
But I think the image
Eat
has
or I
changed.
call Coco.
Coco is, yes, Coco will come and bite you.
And
This,
in
take
this
this.
case, Coco, you don't eat. Or I call Coco.
Yeah, but I think things have changed. Now we are friendlier.
No, you are distinctly friendlier. You seek to explain yourself. But the damage that was done previously, okay? In fact, when I was told you're coming here, I told my colleagues, I'm going to ask you, since you're in the training, this unit, this specific unit that you use to train your people on how to scare taxpayers, what's that unit called?
I mean, we train people how to deal with smugglers. So
No, smugglers, I understand, but a common Mwananchi, like, if Kenny writes your letter, you can be unwell for a week. Because you just
By receiving the letter.
yeah, you receive the letter, you open it, you're seeing jail. More jail.
And then down there it tells you, get in touch with the undersigned.
Yes, yes.
Without
But
prejudice.
before that, it's loss of property. You,
no, nowadays things are better. We have things are better. Yeah.
they are not better. They are infinitely better.
Thank you.
But
Thank
you see, for it to resonate in the way that I see it as, we need a citizenry that is happy to pay tax.
Yes.
We haven't gotten there yet. Because in my mind, that's the measure. When citizens understand, look, if they came to you and said, you know, I did ABCD, you only taxed this, but you forgot to tax this one, then you will have arrived. But so long as we are under declaring, because that's what Kenyans tend to do,
Oh yes.
then we haven't quite gotten there.
Yes, and also if we come to you and scare you, if nowadays if we come to you and scare you, will you really pay your taxes?
No.
I need to talk to you nicely so that you can tell me, you know, I have under declared here, what do I do? You know, nitakuchapa penalty kidogo, nikwambie unalipa hapa, this is how you do, so that you can be compliant.
There are many things like City is saying. It's coming from the old mindset and trying to catch up with the new KRA. Because yes, we've interacted with several officers now from KRA, yourself and others. friendly people who want to make you understand what this whole business of paying tax is all about, and that you're not out to take me to jail. But 3 months ago, KRA guys came and knocked at my office. Okay? I went and opened. I found 4 people, one of them carrying a gun and wearing police uniform. Habari yako? Senior officer wa KRA. We are just going around this office block, just registering the offices that are here. Which one is this? I looked at them. I spoke to them from outside. I did not let them in. Because I could see, yes, they're being very friendly, and they're explaining themselves, and they're saying, this is why we're here. We're just taking notes, we just want to map out the companies, the organizations that are here. And you can see the reason why they have a police officer is also for authenticity. Because anybody can walk to you and say,
I'm from KRA.
I'm KRA.
Yeah.
How do I know?
Yeah,
but at least when you have a police officer with them, you can tell, well, there's no way a police officer would be accompanying thugs.
In which country?
Well,
You're reducing the chances. Friendlier KRA. Cost of compliance is still a big issue. And when you're talking to people, when you're doing, ordinary training with the Erics who are running small businesses, cost of compliance obviously will come up because there's so many things, I don't know, you need to file this, you need to file the other, you need to understand how to do this and the other. And then when you come to the benefits that you can get, I don't know, there's benefit for this, you could take advantage of this benefit for this. I need to know all those things, so I need to go and hire somebody to do that for me. Can we just make it easier?
That is why we opened the doors to you. To come and let us train you. Let us train you on how to do these things. Because you get many people, it's not like, it's because they don't know. And reading the act is not friendly.
Yeah.
It's not a friendly thing. That law language is not friendly.
That has difficulties, yes. But some of these things that you say are simple, like declaration, filling these forms online.
Filling the iTax is so easy.
That's what I was told.
Until?
I tried.
Now you come to KESRA. We will take you through from point A to Z.
I got somebody who can do it for me.
Oh, okay.
Easier.
Fair enough.
But if coming to KESRA is free, I will come. If you ask me to pay, you will then ask me where I got the money to pay. And you'll want to tax it. So that one I'm not taking. I know a bait when I see one.
When you come, basically, they are coming to ask, so tell us about yourself.
Yes.
I have a piece of land. I collect rent, I
have a small
farm
have
here.
some sugar.
Okay, yeah.
And given where I come from, I'll tell them I'm also director.
Yeah.
In
This
this
and
and this
director, this and that.
organization.
So we put all those things together. Now when you're declaring your tax, you've already entered the mix.
What have you? I even know.
Waiting to shut the
I
door.
know my PIN number off head. PIN number.
nice.
I tell you, it really. Some just PIN.
Mr. Muga.
And they look at you and say, and you paid this tax last year. Okay. So you know the course they'll start with? Okay. Jail term. Okay.
So, as you hear all these things, Emma, obviously there's a fear, and I think that fear is still quite resident amongst many Kenyans, in as much as KRA has taken on a friendlier approach in the recent past in how it deals with citizens. Now moving forward with the education and the training, obviously, that is available to many a Kenyan right now, and with the laws that are being made in the country in terms of how then Kenyans will operate with tax. Moving forward, how do you see things playing out? With, in my opinion, an obvious directive should be to be able to widen the tax base in this country, have more people compliant. How do you see these things moving forward for us to get to the point whereby it doesn't seem as though KRA is coming up with more taxes to kind of penalize Kenyans and to raise money instead of making it a symbiotic relationship between the taxpayer and the tax authority?
Now, moving forward, I want to say this, that it is a journey. It is a journey. It is a journey we have come, and it is a journey that we are getting there. We say tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee. It is, we have to raise this awareness to raise the compliance issue, to raise the compliance levels. And when we expand the tax base, what are we telling people? What is it that we are telling people? We're expanding the tax base, we're collecting more taxes because we need the roads made, we need the hospitals made. You know, our job at KESRA is to collect, because I know there's that fear of, so when you collect, does that money do
what it says it's going to do?
Our job is to collect, and you as a citizen, your role is to pay the taxes.
You know that what you do, that's beyond your purview.
Yes.
That we understand. You see, I am more concerned about the end product that demonstrates conclusively that KESRA is doing everything that they ought to be doing. And that is, I, the taxpayer, being happy to pay my tax. Or I, the taxpayer, am willing to pay my tax. The big problem that KESRA has is not the collection of taxes, but the unwillingness.
Yes.
Now, the unwillingness, when it relates to the relationship that the taxpayer has with the tax collector, that is what ought to be remedied. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I hear you.
How should they do that?
You see, they clearly make these attempts, okay? Like, for instance, they sometimes give waivers. They say, we know you've been lying on what you declare, but if you come by this time, we will not jail you. You just come, bring yourself, and pay what you're supposed to pay, or come with a plan. Now, when you do that, it is reaching out. So you end up getting money you ordinarily wouldn't have gotten. Like, I'm looking at this paper before me. It says that the taxman netted 1.9 billion shillings in such a venture. But my benchmark is actually the Kibaki era, okay? Where they understood that the only way this country is actually going to do the things that they want to do is if we get this tax collection business in order. And they got it in order. Now, it isn't something that stays in order. It's always a work in progress.
Yes.
How you get in new taxpayers, how you ensure that they stay there, how you ensure that they pay their taxes. Now, if KESRA assures us that that is the thing that they're constantly doing, then I myself will be happy. I will be happy. Insofar as one can be happy with KESRA, I will be happy.
Do you think training will help here?
Yes, it does. Training does help because that iTax thing that I spoke of, the colleague who helped me understand it actually walked me through it and said there's this. And at the end of it, I understood what she had said, but I still couldn't do it. But I had understood what she had said. Probably just a block in my head.
I think it is because people think tax is hard. It's not easy though, but when you are educated and you know what needs to be known, you don't come at it from a point of fear. You're coming at it from a point of, I know, so what next? How am I supposed to declare my taxes?
Fear is healthy.
There's unhealthy fear.
Fear is not always negative. If people didn't fear KESRA, they wouldn't pay taxes.
Well,
I think I get the point that you're saying, Emma, because when you empower people with knowledge, then you've broken down all those walls and barriers. And if it becomes easier for me to be able to log on and file my own tax returns, and I need to understand these are my obligations, so this is how I go about it. I mean, we do many more complex things.
Yeah.
And this is just filling out a form and then uploading it and clicking. It's only because you know that if you get it wrong, you risk a penalty. If you don't do it, you risk a penalty. I think that's what now also adds up onto that pressure. It's just like sitting a KCPE or KCSE exam. You know this, you know very well, like we said earlier, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. You just misapply that and you don't get the 5 marks. And you don't get the 5 marks, you don't get the pass mark that you require. You don't get the pass mark, then it also affects the school that you go to. The bigger implication adds on to the pressure. I don't know how, as you create all this awareness on people, how we can get to a point where then I'm more confident, and as I'm filling out the forms, as I'm applying for any new tax obligation, as I'm applying for any rebates and all, that penalty is not the fear that I have. How can you remove that fear of non-compliance from people?
It is just basically knowledge. It is just basically knowledge. It's knowledge. Once you know what you need to do, and once you know, okay, if I'm filing my end of year return, if I do 1, 2, 3, I risk a penalty. But if you have this process very clear in your head, and you know you can understand the law very well, you understand the process, then why the penalties won't be there? Because it's actually there. It's on the return.
Okay.
My math teacher used to say that.
Yes.
I mean, it's so basic.
It's basic to the maths teacher, of course.
If you didn't do algebra, just go back to lower primary. And this is in college.
Who do you partner with? I mean, KRA, you say you partner with industry. Do you partner with learning institutions?
Oh, yes.
The reason why I ask this question, whenever we talk about, say, national ethos and understanding nationalism and things that ought to be inculcated in people, we always bring in the discussion of making sure that it's part of a curriculum at school level, primary and secondary. Now, tax is an important thing. So do you partner with institutions of learning so that at whatever level, since you are a learning institution and have you thought of creating a curriculum or something that can actually be introduced so that people grow up understanding tax? If you understand it from an early age, it won't be scary. And if you understand why it is done, it can even become part of an ordinary discussion that people have.
Yes. Because I can assure you it's not ordinary. What we have right now are tax clubs in schools. So basically, in your club, you talk about the taxes, just the basics. But I like the idea of inculcating a curriculum from right down. It's something that I think we should pick up.
See,
just like you asked all of us from the very beginning, as you were growing up, were you taught tax in
yes,
school?
it is something we should pick up.
tax is something you encounter when you start working and you're told, pay as you earn. Okay?
Yes.
It shouldn't be that. It's something that can be introduced at a very basic level and it can be understood, because when you talk about costs of commodities, you're talking about a component of tax which is hidden, because nobody talks about it, but it's always there. So one can always talk about tax and one can always introduce tax at a level that it can be understood even by a child who's in nursery school.
I agree with you 100%.
Some question here, for example, Donald. What is Donald saying?
Donald
from
seems
the
to be
lower one.
a bit frustrated this morning, and he's asking, KRA is so unfair, fining me 20,000 shillings in 2018 for failing to file nil returns. Is it even logical? And he's gone to post his message direct from KRA. A couple other questions coming in terms of what we're talking about now.
He received a letter from KRA telling him, you have not paid tax of 20,000 shillings for the obligation income tax resident individual for 2016 to 2017. He's been told now, kindly pay within the next 15 days,
Or else.
ending November 2018, failure to which will attract penalties and interests. They even received a defaulter's notice. So I was wondering now, surely. It was only nil returns I was supposed to file, surely. Now you're charging me 20,000 shillings for giving you nil. In the Situation Room this morning is Eric Latif, Nduoko and C.T. Muga, and Emma Kithinji, head of tax training at the Kenya School of Revenue Administration. So you had Donald's question. Complaint. He's complaining. Pablo says, good morning. Please ask the KRA lady how one goes about authenticating a KRA officer's ID. If it's Kenya Power, they use a USSD code. If someone comes and knocks at your door and says, "Mimi ni mtu wa KRA," how do I know that they're real?
Ask them for their ID. There's a number down there. Go to the website and you can verify.
And can I do all of this while this person is standing there waiting to...
yes.
Okay, I can go and say, give me a minute to
Yes.
check all of this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's someone else who had asked about the waiver, he was fined 20,000.
Yes.
You can apply for a waiver. Yes, you can apply for a waiver, but make sure that your other taxes are paid. But at least you've given you an option of applying for a waiver.
Meaning, get out of jail free card available, but make sure you're not anywhere near the jailhouse.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
However, is it not also possible when these letters are sent, just a small indication that you can call this number if you have queries, or does it already exist?
It exists.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And that is already, see, when the letters are sent to you, you will always see, talk to so-and-so with their number, or you can contact the authority on this number.
Okay.
And nowadays things are easy. You have your account manager who is always looking after you. Have you paid your taxes? Why are you late? Do you need any help?
Now, there are many benefits that the law gives taxpayers, right?
Yes.
So, for example, I know there's organizations that are paying for staff to undergo training. They get some rebates. Dewey, if you have a mortgage, you get something.
If you pay insurance,
If you pay insurance, you get something. What are all these things? Just give us a few that we can take advantage of, like today at the
that
end
we
of
can
this.
claim rebate
Right
now, even
now,
as we're sitting
you know.
here.
As you're sitting here, the first one, tax rebates for apprenticeship. That happened. It started in 2016. But this is what happens. You need to give internship to at least 10 people. 10 people for a period of 6 to 12 months. Okay? For a period
10
of...
people within 6 months or
6
10 people each 6 months?
No. 10 people for a period of 6 to 10 or 12 months.
Okay.
Yes.
During those 6 to 12 months, there should be 10 people.
10 people.
whom you've given.
Whom you've given internship.
And it doesn't matter whether it's a month, a week.
No, it has to
Internship
be
for a week,
6.
Eric.
It has
That one.
My target is tax. Whether this guy gets
but
a
we-
No,
value
it
or
has
not,
to.
that's his
It has to
problem.
be 6 to 12 months. They have to be.
Also,
with
the
you.
internship has to be, so the intern has to be with you for at least 6 to 12
6
months.
to 12 months.
All right.
Yeah.
And you must train 10 of them.
10 of them.
Within a
this
year.
period. All
Yeah.
right, okay.
So what happens when you in 2016 the government gave tax rebates to if you had employed interns who are university graduates, but in the Finance Act 2021 they added the TVET.
Okay.
You know what TVET is?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they added the TVET students. Yeah. So that is a plus. And what happens? You are given, 50% of the cost of your cost as a rebate. As an example is this: you have 10 people who you're paying 30,000.
1,000
Okay, per month
as internship.
as internship. Of course, payee is.
You have to
You
have
have
to do the
to- you have to
pay
do
and
what
do
you have to
NHIF
do.
and SSF.
Yes, you have to do what you have to do.
Okay.
So per month, you're getting 300,000, right?
Yeah.
So 50% of that is
150.
150. So what are you claiming? 300,000 plus the 150. It comes to 450.
450.
So in your P&L, as you tally, you will take the 50% of the 300 and place it in the apprenticeship cost.
Right.
That will eventually lower your what? Your tax burden.
Right. So I can send people to come to your institution, Kenya School of Revenue Administration, because you are a TVET, to come and understand. People from people who've gone to your institution, they come and work for me for a couple of months, 6 months or so, doing my taxes, and I pay them some allowance for internship, and then I'll claim that.
Then you'll claim that.
That's brilliant.
You're given a rebate by the government.
But that is a minimum of 10. What if I have 15? So you
That's a
claim for
minimum.
each.
Yes, for each.
If I have 9, I cannot claim for any.
No.
Is there a maximum?
No, I don't think so. Not that I'm
I
aware.
see.
And this rebate, from the time I lodge the reimbursement claim, how long does it take before I actually get the money? You may not know the answer to that, but the reason
I
why
think you're not actually claiming the money. What you're doing is it's when you're doing your returns at the end and now calculating your...
they offset it.
Yes, you're offsetting that.
Exactly.
So you're paying less the amount that you're claiming
That one works.
at income tax level, at
Yeah.
that one
payment
works.
of income
That one
tax.
works. So do I pay the tax first and then claim, or do I just deduct?
Deduct at source.
They pay you less the rebates.
And I'm just asking.
Pay you less the rebates.
Do your
since
math,
it's
do
gonna-
your
Do your
math,
maths,
do your math,
okay. This is
claim
what
it,
they said. They
and
asked you,
then-
this is the amount you agree. Okay, so here's what I'm going to pay because I've removed it. At source.
That's how
Yeah,
it's
so-
that's how it works.
yes.
Okay, that's one.
So
Another
that's a
one?
good thing.
That's a very brilliant. That's a good thing.
Some of the other ones.
Another one is the insurance relief, the NHIF contribution.
Okay. This is a really sticky point, Emma. And if you can really explain how this works, you have
from the beginning.
You start from the very beginning, where you have NHIF membership. Go.
Now, what is a tax relief? Let's start there.
Okay.
What is a tax relief? A tax relief is an incentive that reduces what? The amount that a person pays. Okay? So how does a tax relief work? When pay is computed as an individual, you are given a tax relief of 2,400
Annum.
per month. 2,400 per month.
Yeah.
All right? So that reduces your tax
burden.
burden. And when it comes to insurance, what happens is that you're given 15%. The law allows you 15% of your premium. 15% of your premium. Let's say for life and health and education. And for education, you have to have 10 years plus. So what happens if you're paying a premium of 10,000 shillings, 15% of that is 1,500. So at the end of it is going to be 1,500. You're going to deduct 1,500. Okay? It's automatic on the system. It's going to be 1,500. Now, NHIF has come into that bracket. That whatever you pay, 15% of that is going to be a relief. And it's going to reduce the people who don't have insurance, so they don't enjoy this relief. So if you pay NHIF, starting 1st January 2022, you will be able to get the relief.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's remove this word relief. Because it's because
a limit.
a lot still we're not getting that what exactly it means. I mean, understand it, but others are saying, so what does this exactly mean? You're talking about now my then burden is 10,000 shillings. This is what I would have paid. Now NHIF comes in. I get that 15%. So what do I have to pay at the end of the day because of this incentive?
It is going to be automatic in your from your employer side.
Less how much?
But this is
15.
tax. This is not to NHIF.
No, not
No,
to
no, no.
NHIF. It is
Your
a relief for
contribution
you.
to NHIF, if it's 500, 750, whatever, goes at
goes
750.
goes at 750.
Okay.
But for you, it's a relief for you. So they will do in your pay when they calculate your pay. It's going to be minus the tax relief, minus the insurance relief, so that you can be able to enjoy.
So at the end of the day, what it means is that there will be more money at the end of your pay slip.
Yes, thank you. Looks like your A game. So come for advanced diploma.
I see what you've done
And
there.
then come for internship in my organization so I can claim.
you can claim.
Are you convinced?
It makes sense, but I'd like somebody who has seen it work talk to me, because some of these schemes work very well on paper, and when we discuss them, they actually exist.
They're actually live, warm-blooded human beings who've received this extra, 2,000 shillings, 2,500 shillings. Not that but that it has not been cut off their pay slip at the end of 1 month, where they see that the relief has checked in. They're existing on this planet.
And if I look at my tax records and with all the insurance I've been paying, I do not see this benefit, can I come and claim it?
Yeah.
If you learned about it today and you've been paying insurance for the last 5 years, can you
5.
go back No, for the last 5 years I've been there. I've just learnt about it.
That's it.
Can I start claiming?
That's what I'm asking.
But or you claim from that month going forward. Okay. So this applies to. It has been applying to
It
private
is-
health insurance.
Yes, and it's going to
Now it's
come
going
into
to-
effect on 1st January 2020.
From January, NHIF kicks in,
Yes, insurance.
and
relief.
private health insurance, or does it include
No,
even life
NH-
insurance?
NHIF.
Just NHIF.
Yeah, but the life insurance has been there. It's been there.
So what is that for life insurance?
It's actually the same
Uh-huh.
thing. It's 15% of your premium up to 60,000. The law has allowed you up to 60,000.
Okay. Here is where now I think the challenges start coming in. You take up life insurance as an individual. It's not your employer who's taking up the life insurance. So are you then supposed to take those details to your employer?
Yes.
What do you take to your employer?
Your certificate. You're given a tax exemption certificate.
By your insurance provider?
Yes, by your insurance provider.
So you take it now
You
to
take
your
it to your employer. And remember, it is insurance that you pay for yourself, your spouse, or your dependent.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. So there are many things that we just don't know. So why you should be coming here every day? Every day, so we tell people, okay, so this one now there's some new stuff. There's a lot of work that's being done. I mean, there's a lot of let's say conversations happening right now, Emma, with regards to how much money you are collecting on behalf of the government per litre of kerosene, diesel, petrol.
The fuel, it is a very sticky area, but I will just mention it. All along, Kenya has been classifying the fuel and petroleum products as exempt. Yeah? Until 2013.
Why has it been exempt?
Let me get to that. Until 2013, when we overhauled the VAT Act. So the industry players asked, can we be given like 3 years? Actually, those goods in the VAT Act, the fuel and the petroleum products, were categorized as goods in transition. So the industry players asked for 3 years and then another 5 years. But World Bank and IMF kept telling Kenya that you need to levy VAT on petroleum products. Why? Because there was market disequilibrium.
What does that mean?
Now,
Eric doesn't understand. Explain to him.
no, when you're talking about market disequilibrium, the petroleum and fuel products, it's a ripple effect that when fuel goes up, everything goes up.
Yeah.
Everything goes up, right?
Yeah.
And why is that? Because it cuts across. It's something that you consume either directly or indirectly. So when these goods are exempt and you have inputs that are VATable, you have nowhere. VAT payable is output minus input. You have nowhere to take these claims.
Okay.
So that is the disequilibrium
when you
you're
say
talking
exempt,
about.
When they were exempt up to 2013, when you say exempt, what did that mean?
You know what exempt means? An exempt rate means that you are allowed. You are not allowed to claim your inputs.
Meaning?
Meaning, an example. I'll give you an example of flour.
Flour.
Yes.
Flour.
Unga,
ugali.
ngano, unga chapati. Okay. Unga, you remember a time when the prices of unga, the government had to put a price ceiling of 90 shillings. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the prices kept going high. So, and a good example is last year between June and December 2020, the prices of unga were down because the manufacturers were given a chance to do it at zero rate. Now, this is where I'm coming in. When we're talking about a zero rated good, it is VAT at zero rate. at zero
Rate.
rate. So you're able to claim your inputs. And what am I saying, claiming your inputs? Transportation, rent, your expenses, you're
Raw
able
materials.
to raw materials, you're able to claim that. It pushes you to a negative position, and that negative position you're able to claim a tax refund.
Okay.
But now when you're talking about exempt, you are not allowed to claim your
Claim
inputs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the advantages of not being able to claim it or to claim it?
The advantages of being able to claim your input is that you just an example like the unga.
Yes.
When the unga when it's at 0%, you're able to claim your inputs. Is that okay? That your expenses, you can be able to claim your expenses.
That I understand.
That's going it
Put you in a position,
In a
a negative position where then you pay less.
yes, you pay less.
Actually,
Pay less in terms
I
of
haven't
tax.
asked this
and
question
it pushes you
correctly.
to refund.
What I wanted to ask was, okay, the position that World Bank and IMF wanted us to move away from, okay? The position we're in, first of all, how was it beneficial to us? Why did we maintain that position before IMF and World Bank?
Are we enjoying that position?
Yes, we
Was it
were.
beneficial to us?
Disequilibrium. It was a good one.
It was a good one, but the market was not very. There was a problem, and that is why they came.
There was
they
an
came-
uneven playing field.
Yes, there was an uneven playing field.
Okay.
Yeah, and
That is to the taxpayer.
that is to the taxpayer.
To the tax collector, was it a good position?
It was excellent.
When they're not collecting.
It was excellent.
So what happened in September 2018? What happened in September 2018? You remember the Parliament passed a bill and said that fuel should be VAT about 16%, and then the president brought it back with an amendment saying that no 8%.
Yes.
8%, and on September 23rd, 2018, they passed it to 8%, and now it's at 8%. But now that one, for the input and the output, the flow is okay. There's no disequilibrium. So when people say that, I don't know whether I'm supposed to say this, but when people say that VAT or tax is making fuel expensive, I'm not sure. It is the landing costs. Okay, these are international price levels. These are international price levels.
You know, it is debatable in this sense. Huh? There's what the layman like ourselves, lay persons like ourselves understand.
Yes.
We can't control landing costs, not really.
No.
But anything that is added thereafter is within our purview. So if it's what raises the cost of fuel to the level that it gets to, then we could argue that justifiably we can say, but you know, it is.
There's a 9 shillings here that I have control of.
Yes.
I don't have to pay the 9 shillings
Yes.
at the pump.
See, we're not finding fault. We're just saying
Can we avoid
this is the situation. Okay.
It has come anyway. But here, where we have an opportunity to regulate and do something about it, can't we then just tinker with the numbers to make it then more accessible to everybody?
No, that goes to EPRA. Yeah.
And
You
the
see what EPRA
parliamentarian.
does, we also understand, and it has made this issue of costing of fuel easier to understand. Because EPRA always break it down for you. So it's not just that this is the cost. They break it down for you. Now, that's where we bring in KRA. Because tax,
Levy.
tax, levy. That's just a different name for tax. Tax, levy. And then they even baptize the tax. Excise.
Yes.
This excise tax.
Blood.
Yes. Sweat. Tax. So
Many things. We're coming to the end of the show. Dan Mosiah wants to get into your training and says, how much are these courses? There's no brochure on the KESRA E-Academy. If someone wants to know, I mean, I want to go to undergo this training at KESRA. How do I go about it?
Everything is on our website.
KRA website.
No, KESRA website. We have a KESRA website, and they can call the numbers there.
He's saying he doesn't see the price.
Tell him to call the numbers there. We will give him the price.
Okay, Dan. See the numbers there? Call those numbers there. Do they work?
Of course they do.
Are they responded to?
Yes, they are. Yeah, we are not typical government. You can be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big issue. Among the things that has been talked about is whistleblowing in taxpayers. What is that?
I'm sure.
You know someone who doesn't pay
We know
tax.
someone who doesn't pay tax.
Me, I don't know
That
anyone.
is the surest way to go to jail.
Me, I don't know anyone.
I'm sure you know.
Me, I don't know anyone.
You must
How
know.
can I possibly know?
I don't know.
Me, I only know about me, I only
So
know about
now-
myself.
So, assuming someone out there knows, because
Somebody whom we don't
know.
Yeah, someone whom we don't know.
Yeah.
So when one gives information leading to identification, there's a reason why I am putting it in caps.
Underlining.
Yeah, underlining identification of unassessed duties or taxes. It is 1% of the duties. Up to 500,000 will be given. Okay.
Up to 500,000.
Up to 500,000. But if you give information leading to recovery, 5% of the taxes or 5 million, whichever is less.
The only person who would do that is somebody who works in a certain organization in the finance department and
So
therefore has
as is
information
privy
that
to all
will
this.
lead to identification.
And or recovery.
Because they'll have details.
Yeah.
And you can do it on iWhistle.
So
Yeah.
you're basically just turning accountants against their employers.
Essentially, you'll go to
Well.
iJail.
You know what also that means? Is that even this benefit is I.
Yes, everything is
It's
I.
just I get an I benefit.
Yes.
But there's something
Can
else I
you
want
cash
to.
it?
Yeah, there's something else
Yes.
I'd want to say. Like in the Finance Act 2021, you remember our farmers were really hit
Yeah.
when stuff was coming in. The eggs,
Yeah.
Milk.
the milk, the eggs, the potatoes. And something like Wangige market, you would go to Wangige market and you're told hizi mayai ni za Uganda, hizi ni za Kenya.
Na bei ni tofauti.
Yeah, Uganda iko chini. But now what has the government done? The government has levied 25% on these imports. So our farmers have an upper hand. Yeah.
That's a different discussion altogether.
We're protecting our farmers.
Yes,
we're
we are.
protecting our
But
farmers.
at what cost? Because we have these economic understandings with our neighbors, blah, 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 free economic, blah, blah, blah.
They've done the same.
Different discussion for a different day.
day.
For a different day. If
Emma
we-
Kithinji, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you. Come back again. She is the head of tax training at the Kenya School of Revenue Administration. Remember, this week we are celebrating people like Emma, people who are young women in public service, and you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Kudos.
Asante.